Hello everyone, my name is Jovin and today I will show you how to play Tableturf Online Draft. Tableturf Online Draft is a website that I made where you can play Tableturf in a different kind of way, where you have to draft your decks, build them in real time against your opponent. So if you played maybe Mega Draft from Clash Royale, or maybe if you drafted champions from League of Legends or Paladins or Dota, it's quite similar to that. But if you haven't, that's okay. I am going to explain how it works. So before we start, there's a few things that you need to keep in mind. Draft assumes that you have every card unlocked. But if you don't have every card unlocked game, that's fine, because I will show you how you can play with a Tableturf simulator on the web, where every card is obviously unlocked from the start. So, okay, now we got that out of the way, so let's show you how to play Tableturf Online Draft. So let's go through all the draft settings. So the number of cards in the draft, it's quite self-explanatory. That's the number of cards that you have available to choose from when drafting. There's a minimum of 30, because if there's less than that, then both players can't make a complete deck out of it. And obviously there's a maximum of 252, because that's how many cards there are in the game. The default value is 60. I think that's a pretty good balance between having options but still being limited, so you have to test your deck building skills. Now we move on to the names. This is just the names of the players. There will be a player 1 that is choosing the first card, and then players will take turns choosing 2 cards each. Now the player you choose to be player 1 and player 2 is actually randomized, so it doesn't actually matter which one you type in first. So in this example I'm going to play against Maxim, so I'm going to type my own name here and then Maxim. And here is the minimum number of special attack cards. And what this means is the minimum number of 312s in your deck. 312 is the cards representing the in-game special attacks. Usually you'd want to have 1 or 2 of these in your deck. So this can kind of ensure that there's not only one 312 in the draft, because that would mean that the player going first has a massive advantage, because they're just gonna yoink that 312 and then they're probably going to win, because having a 312 is quite important. Now this doesn't mean there will be exactly 4, this just means there will be a minimum of 4 of these cards. But you can set it to 0 if you want to have completely random cards. Next is a timer. You can set this to none, or you can set it between 10 seconds and 2 minutes. And if the timer runs out, that just makes it so the draft automatically chooses a random card for you to put in your deck, and the draft will continue on as normal. For this example, I'm going to choose 30 seconds. Next is the stage. I like drafting 4 specific stages. So this will show up as a map in the bottom to make it clear for both the opponent and you what map you are drafting for. You could keep this as undefined if you maybe don't know what map you're drafting for, or if you're drafting one deck for multiple maps. That's fine too, you can just keep it undefined. But I'm gonna pick square squared for this example. Okay, now every setting is finished, so let's click on Generate Draft. So what you do here is you copy the link, then you open the site, and then you give the link to your opponent. So now before you start your draft, the site will ask who you are. Obviously you should choose yourself. You can also choose a spectator if you're a spectator, so you can just spectate the draft, but the spectator can't choose any cards for anyone. So I click myself, and then I click ready. And you can see here that Maxim hasn't pressed ready yet, so it won't start until both players are ready. Now you can see Maxim pressed ready, and it shows me as player 1. So I've got 30 seconds. It's lagging a bit, but you can see it ticks down. And we have some random cards here that I can choose from. Just Pearl and Marinas, that's pretty funny. I'm going to pick Pearl actually as my first card. So now Maxim gets to choose cards, he chose Marina. I think in general it is better in most maps to prioritize big cards. That's just a tip, you don't actually have to do that if you want. So he's choosing 2 cards here, that's perfect, is normal. Let me just pick some things here. I'm gonna go with Octodisco and Splash Mob. After the first turn, every player alternates between picking 2 cards. So as you can see, he picked both chargers to counter me playing Splash Mob, because obviously I wanted the charger with the Splash Mob combo, but now I can't do that. I think I'll pick Heavy Edit, because there's a Splatter Shot right here that I can combo with it, so that's pretty nice. So I did mention it earlier, but obviously you can't pick cards that opponents have picked, so that's a big part of the strategy in draft. You can see your size here in the bottom. If you want to see how big your deck is, that's where you check that. Okay, let's showcase what happens when the timer runs out. Okay, so now it will reach 0, and after a while, the server picked Sploosh for me automatically. Then it moves on. So there we have my deck. Now we're just waiting for Maxim to choose their final card. Now the draft has finished. So now what you could do is, both players have all the cards in game. You could just choose to make this deck inside of the actual game and play it out. So I'm going to show you how you can play it in a simulator, because not every player has every card. So what you want to do here is, under your own deck, there is a button here that says Export Deck. So this will show a JSON code here. You can just go ahead and copy that code, and it will copy your own deck. And as it says here, you want to go to this website, tableturf.andreocelos.net. This is a Tableturf simulator made by Andreocelos. It's probably the best Tableturf simulator out there by far. And it does have a feature where you can play online against someone else. First, before you actually play with your opponent, you want to make sure you actually import your drafted deck into the simulator before you play. So what you do is you press on Edit Decks. And I have way too many decks here, but if you scroll down, or you don't have to scroll down, but I have to scroll down, there is a button here that says Import Deck. And then you choose Import from Tableturf Battle Simulator. And then you go ahead and paste in what you copied earlier. And then press OK. And if I press on Draft here and scroll up, you can see this is the deck that I drafted. So now we're ready to start playing the game. So you want to press back. Then one of you should host the game. I'm going to show you how you can host, but if the other player hosts, you can just enter the link they send you here and then press join game, and it should be fine. So if you're hosting, just press create room. Now if you want the turn limit, this is where you set it. I'm going to set it on 40 seconds. So then what you want to do is to copy the link of the page and then give it to your opponent. And now I just have to wait for Maxim to get in the lobby. And there he is. We drafted for square squared, so let's choose that stage. You want to press submit here. And then both players have to submit the stage. And then you want to choose your draft deck. It doesn't show you a preview, so make sure you actually press on draft. And then you press submit. And now you're playing Tableturf. So yeah, this is just normal Tableturf, but in a website instead of in game. So yeah, I can choose to hold this hand or redraw. I think I will redraw here. And nice, I got Pearl. Now I do know my opponent's deck here. This is kind of an open deck list format, because you know you drafted the deck against the opponent. So if you want to, you could look at the opponent's deck. You can kind of anticipate what they're gonna play. Damn, he got a pretty good clash. So yeah, I don't really have to explain much here. This is just normal Tableturf gameplay. Let's just block off here. Wait, let's go and see where I can play this. 6987. No, not a lot of time. I was yapping instead of playing. I probably lost here. Oh, okay, I won. That was an awesome clash. So now you know how to play Tableturf Online Draft. Let's quickly go over some options here in the corner. First off, you can change the language if you want. This is Japanese. This is mostly translated by Seal Curry and Konoko Misaki. They did an awesome job, I think, so kudos to them. We also have a Swedish translation made by me. Let's stick to English for now. Also some options. You can choose to mute audio if you want. There's usually audio for when picking cards and when the timer is about to reach 0. And also when the draft is finished. You can mute that audio if you want. The deck sorting order is just how the deck is sorted. As you can see, I have large to small and the special attack cards at the start. This is exactly how it's sorted. The Kraken Royale is at the start and then it goes from large to small. Also, you should probably delete your draft after using it, because you don't want to end up in a situation where there's like 5 different draft decks and you don't know which one you should choose. And lastly, there's a dark mode you can choose to turn off if you're crazy. So that was basically everything. Quickly want to mention that this site isn't up all the time because I'm hosting it from my own computer and I don't want my computer to be on 24/7. Unfortunately, you can't visit this website, mostly during nighttime hours in European time. But I try to keep it running as much as possible during the day. Also, I almost forgot, if you want to play some draft in a tournament, run a tournament series called Tableturf Draft Series. It's basically just a regular Tableturf tournament, but you use draft instead of normal gameplay. So if you want to check that out, I have a Discord link in the description for that server. We host the tournaments, and every once in a while, maybe once every 2-3 months. Okay, that's all the things I wanted to say. Thanks for watching.